Hi Jeff. Not too bad, thank you. Hope you are well too. Bit of an early start. Hey Yusuf, how you doing? I'm doing my best to keep to a little bit more of a sensible nighttime schedule, so trying not to go to bed at stupid hours. So starting a little bit earlier. Finished up the hard work. Well, sounds like time for a nice cigar. Well, I'm in the middle of another Crown Series pipe. This was going to be a commission. The customer wanted a carve blasted pipe, but yeah, Jeff, I'm going to do cigar tonight as well. I think I haven't had the cigar in a couple of weeks, I think, at least. So this was going to be a commission for a customer, but the customer wanted a carve blast, and I've already told the customer that the grain on this pipe looks really good. I can't say for sure until I've got the final shape done, but if it is as good as I think it might be, then I'm going to have to keep it smooth, and I'll have to make another one for the commissioner. But so far it's looking really, really good. Very happy with it. Very nice positioning of the colours on the stem. We've got a silver band on there, which is nice. So it's going to be kind of a short bent billiard, brandy kind of thing. Drilling is perfect. As perfect as you're going to get on a bent pipe like that. Well, it's actually bang on. No worries there. But it does have potentially some really nice grain. Good sized bowl. So hopefully finish that off tomorrow, all being well. The brick pattern, yeah, I'm sure I will be doing one of those, at least one of those, during the course of the next couple of weeks, because that's what I'm focusing on. I do have quite a list of commissions that I need to do at the moment, but I've told the commissioners that at the moment I'm focusing on Crown Series pipes. It just so happens that the commissioner of this one wanted a Crown Series stem, but wants it to be carve blasted, which I will just have to see. My gut feeling is that I'm not going to carve blast it. I think it's too nice. Hey Daniel. Good for you. I hope you sell that, Daniel. So I've got a few cigars in here. I've got a Partagas E2, which is a beautiful size. It's like a 5.5 inch or a 6 inch. Hi Alan. welcome aboard. I'm not sure if I've seen you before. If you haven't been on here, welcome. Yeah, 5.5 inch. And I think it's a 52 ring gauge. And I also have same kind of size La Jolla de Monterey Serie La Jolla, which is also a big old cigar. And because I haven't smoked a cigar for quite some time now, a good couple of weeks at least, I'm gonna go with the Jolla, which is generally speaking a lighter cigar. I have a, excuse me, I also have a Coram in there, which I will not be smoking tonight. What is my thought on having a Chapman Cuban? I'm not sure what you mean. What is my thoughts on the A. Chapman's brand, or what are my thoughts of having one tonight? I'm not having one tonight. But if you're asking me about the brand generally, it's a brand that I like very, very much. It's one of my favorite brands. I don't have much in the way of A. Chapman at the moment. Oh, A. Chapman compared to this. I'll tell you soon. Once I've smoked it a bit, I can give you a better answer to that question. See if I can get hold of one of my cigar cutters. Hey Patrick, Todd, how you doing? So this is the Padio straight cut, which I got recently from someone. Some of you may have worked out who that is by now. It's exactly the same as the black one that I've got. It's still quite stiff as it's new. That is a sharp cut. Cuban cigar. Now the question is, what will the draw be like? Oh, what a treat. An absolutely perfect draw. This cigar I got in Rome when I was there recently. I bought 2 of them. The prices in Europe are so much better than here. Almost less than half. This moment, prices have gone crazy. Do I feel a V cut or a punch cut versus straight will give you more restricted flow draw? It really depends how you do it, and it also depends on the diameter of the cigar. If your punch cut is a very narrow one, like a 6mm or 7mm, then yes, I believe that will ultimately, it could, I'm not saying it will, but it could diminish the enjoyment of the smoke of the cigar. But if you've got a wide punch, I've got a double-sided punch which I've had for a long time, and I never use because I just stick with the straight cut. So this is a magnetized punch cut. So on one side it's got like that's probably about an 8mm, something like that, and on the other side it's something like 11, 12 or 13mm, something like that. So it's a punch cut like that, that's pretty good. I mean, that's going to give you a pretty good airflow. But one like that on, say, a 52 ring gauge, I wouldn't advise it. You might be fine, but I just wouldn't advise it. And that all theoretically should magnetically. I might have them on the wrong sides. 1 second. Yeah, and that just sticks together like that. Made by Adorini. Yeah, I think they're quite easy to get hold of. I've had it probably over 5 years. I very, very, very rarely, if at all, use it. The other type of punch cut is the V-cut. Now, for me, this is one of the best V-cuts I've ever had. It's a Calibri, and it's got a very sharp blade. You can see that blade coming in there. That's really sharp. And what a lot of people do is they'll do a double V-cut. So they'll put the cigar in, do the cut, and then turn the cigar or the punch or the cutter 90 degrees and do it again. So you end up with a cross, and that gives you a very good throughput of smoke. And that's going to be nigh on the same as having a straight cut, to be honest, and maybe even better, some might argue, because with a V-cut you've actually got more area which has been cut because it's like a 3D cut. But I stick to straight cut, because even with a V-cut the smoke is doing sort of bends in order to get through the V, whereas with the straight cut it's literally just going straight. It's the least complicated route for the smoke to go, so there's least chance of bottlenecking at the top and building up tar and horrible stuff at the top where it's going to ruin the flavor of the smoke. Potentially. But in terms of this versus A. Chapman, this one, let's light it first of all. I lost the cigar rest for this ashtray, so I made this one myself a while back, which fits in very nicely. Like I say, I haven't had a cigar now for a couple of weeks at least. So one of the reasons why I went with this one rather than the Partagas is because it's lighter, and because I haven't smoked for a couple of weeks I figured better to go with something a little bit lighter initially. So when you compare H. Upmann to Hoyo de Monterey, for me, Hoyo de Monterey has got one of the most accurately classic Cuban flavors. If you want to know what a Cuban flavored cigar is, get yourself a Hoyo de Monterey, and that will give you the baseline of Cuban flavors. It's got that creaminess, it's got that little twang, that little richness, the sweetness, sort of almost like a baked goods, biscuity, bready, topped off with a bit of a tang. Hoyo de Monterey, just for me, it's the quintessential Cuban flavor. When I first started smoking cigars, I found them to be too bland and weak, and the same with Romeo and Juliet. I found those to be too bland and weak, and I smoked more of Monte Cristo. I smoked a lot. I smoked a lot of H. Upmann. I smoked some Cohiba, Partagas, more fuller flavored. And hey Andy, what quintessential? Is that what you're asking? How's that spelled? And then as my palate sort of matured and I got used to smoking cigars more, I went back to a lot of the brands that I never really focused on. And one of those brands was Romeo and Juliet. I really went to that one first and then went to Hoyo de Monterey. And how that happened was I managed to get, this is going back maybe 5 years ago. Oh, Hoyo de Monterey. This is Hoyo de D-E, Monterey, Monterey. I'll type it out for you, but this, bear in mind, this is the Cuban version, not the New World version. So the first one that I went back to was Romeo and Juliet. I managed to get hold of a few boxes of wide Churchills, which were from, I think they were from 2010 or something like that. And they had such an amazing, almost a red colored wrapper. And the flavor of those was just out of this world. They were well aged, but not only that, they had this beautiful bouquet of flavors. And I tried to get more. I managed to get another box and then another box. And I was kind of hooked on them until that sort of vintage ran out. But I've since then always enjoyed white Churchills. But those particular few boxes that I got back then, I've not matched since then in quality. A lot of people say the same about the Behikes. When the Behike first came out, they first came out with a 52. Nowadays there's a 52 ring gauge, a 54 ring gauge, and a 56 ring gauge. The 52's always been my favorite. Not that I have it very often at all. I haven't had it in years, but when I was able to get them, the 52 was my favorite. But if you ever had a box of Behikes from 2010, which was the first year of release, you would have been blown away. In fact, you'd have been spoilt, because anything coming after that would never have been as good. I've seen pictures of them. That year they were so rich, they came out so unbelievable, that when you opened the box of 2010 Behikes, there was a couple of millimeters of plume on the wrappers. There was like this hair on the wrappers, because they were so rich in sweetness and oils, and they were just leaching out of the cigars. So that was kind of what was going on to some extent with those wide Churchills that I had. After that, I managed to get hold of some Hoyo de Monterey. They were short robustos, I think they were called, something like that. I might not have the name right, but they were basically shorter smokes than a regular robusto, and they were packs of 3, and I was able to get 5 packs of 3, and they had a few years of age on them. When I got those, they were Hoyo de Monterey. I smoked those, and they were amazing. They were subtle but sweet, and okay, they wouldn't blow you away in terms of fullness or anything like that, but they were phenomenal. So I kind of polished those off pretty quickly, and since then I think my son brought me over a box of those from Spain later on, maybe a year or two after that, and I polished those off in short order as well, but they weren't as good, but they were nice. This is so far really, really good. Daniel, do I feel that Cohibas are worth the price? Currently, definitely not. Habanos SA have raised the prices of cigars of the 5 premium brands of their cigars. So Cohiba, Trinidad, some of the Monte Cristos. I'm not sure exactly which all the brands are, but there's a few of the brands where they've raised the prices exponentially, just a ridiculous level of increase. I read today that the Cohiba, the Behike, now has gone up to £300 per cigar. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I'm not talking about vintage, I'm talking about a current cigar. For vintage, fine, I can understand that, but I mean, it's still too much money for one cigar, but you know, vintage takes, increases in price, we know that. But £300 for a cigar, for a regular line, it's not a regular line, it's a Behike, granted, but a current year cigar, that's crazy. A regular Cohiba Robusto, not a Behike, a regular Cohiba, that's approaching £100 now for a single cigar, and that's crazy. Cohibas now, I mean, smoking Cuban cigars now is really a lifestyle choice. It's no longer about enjoying a cigar, it's about I can't imagine that there's that many people who will be, besides for the filthy rich, that they will be buying them and smoking them on their own. Those are cigars which now I think people will only enjoy together with friends, that they want to show that they've got a Cohiba, and only the filthy rich will smoke those on their own, I think. Like I've said before in previous videos, I think Habanos are taking a risk. Maybe it's a calculated risk, I'm sure it is, they're not stupid. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I recently bought a bunch of Coram cigars. They're really good value in my opinion. I did get a package today. This is a package I ordered from the Pipe Club of London, which I have to say arrived very, very quickly. I think it was next day. So I've also got the latest journal, which hasn't actually been released yet, but because they were sending me a package, they decided to send me the journal, which is very cool. Look forward to reading that. So I ordered a few things off their website. The Pipe Club of London does have some merch. So I already have one of these, but this one is a Pipe Club of London patch, but this one is an iron-on one, and I'm going to put it on my leather apron at some point. I got a bunch of stickers, so I'm going to put one probably in my car, then I'm probably going to send out some. So, member of the Pipe Club of London. And what else we got? I got a beanie. Pipe Club of London with a nice embroidery with a couple of pipes there. I really like that. So that'll be good for next winter. And for this summer, I've already got one of these, but I use it in the workshop, so it looks the worse for wear. So I ordered another peak cap. Oh, they've improved, I think. Or are they the same? Yeah, they're much better. You see that? Look at the embroidery on that one, and look at the embroidery on this. Much better, much more visible. And John, if you happen to watch this, or Bernard, if you happen to watch this, a great improvement. And it's also got this little section here which helps to keep the shape. Very good. I'm very impressed with that. That's a good upgrade in my opinion. I'm going to look forward to wearing that one. And in the winter, the beanie. Hey John, you just got your cap and your mug. You got a smoking hat from her and you've ordered 2 flat cups. Cool. Hello? No, you can't come in. What? No, I'm live now. You can't. Tell her to go to bed. Okay. I can't deal with it now, okay? Be a nice big sister. Bye. What, YouTube don't allow sales of tobacco? I did get a rap over the knuckles from Facebook, from admins in groups. Thankfully not from Facebook itself. So I apologized for that, but in terms of YouTube, I have to make sure that I don't mention the word tobacco and just write, collectible tins. Hey Giri, hope you're well. But yeah, I'll have to be more careful. Thanks for that heads up. Oh really? I'm in the Gentleman Pipes something or other, yeah, if that's the one you mean, John. I got wrapped over the knuckles by them because I posted something about a sale, and they put a limit on my account. In other words, I was still part of the group, but I couldn't post for a few days. I wrote to the admin and explained and apologized, and they put me straight back on. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that, Giri. I'll look back at my previous videos and take them down. That's a good bit of advice. Thank you for that. So the previous ones I'm going to take down. Hi Mark, how you doing? And the other Mark, TPI. They put a ban on you, why? This is really tasting very nice at the moment. It's a Hoyo de Monterrey Siri La Hoyo. I think it's a 52 or a 54 ring gauge by 5.5 inches. Very nice smoke. I bought 2 of those in Rome, so I've got another one still to go. Adrian Flowers, yeah, he still posts. He posts on the Pipe Club of London, I think, as well, and the UK TPC, if I'm not mistaken. He's got a beautiful house and grounds. He posted a conservative video. Conservative as in American politics conservative? And that gets you a ban? That's ridiculous. Is that because they want to be apolitical, or it's because they support the other side? That doesn't make any sense at all. You've got people like what's his name, Shapiro, on there all the time. He's conservative. Candace, all of these guys on the wire, and the other guy, I forget his name now. Oh yeah, that I know, Patrick. I know that I cannot monetize my channel. I'm curious, do any of you guys watching my channel ever see ads on my channel? Because even before they put the ban on monetizing tobacco videos, I resisted monetizing because I hate having to click through ads. So I didn't want to inflict that on my viewers. But when eventually I did try, that was because everybody was doing it, and then YouTube announced that they were going to do it anyway, without your permission on your channel. So I thought, well, if you're going to do it anyway, I might as well make some money out of it. So I tried to monetize, and they wouldn't do it. They denied it, and I haven't pushed it since because I know that my channel is all about tobacco, so not much point asking. Yeah, I mean, those low subscriber presenters will, so far, the analytics will not have identified them as pushing tobacco, so to speak. Still low key. plus probably the not the analytics. What's it called? The bots that run YouTube. The come on, somebody. The algorithms. Thank you, Mark. The algorithms probably don't bother. They're probably not designed or programmed to bother with people with less than, say, I don't know, maybe 500 or 1,000 subscribers, because they're too busy. So they're not gonna. Nobody's gonna see somebody who's got 100 subscribers unless somebody's looking for that channel. You know. Voodoo is right, Josh. How you doing? Yeah, but you know, somebody who's got a low sub count, YouTube are not going to make much of it anyway. There'll be limited views. I've said this before, guys. One of the cheapest ways to join a club is like £25 or something like that. The Pipe Club of London. I've got no affiliation other than being a member, but it's just a bargain of the century. You get a great pipe each year at a very good price. Subscriptions, full membership £25, associate membership £15, an e-member, which you guys in America will probably want, 12 quid. It's just a pittance. It's nothing. Talking about Adrian Flowers, he must have won the slow smoke. That's the current pipe of the year for the Pipe Club of London. Peterson pipe, otherwise known as. It's such a shame that the club doesn't meet at JJ Fox anymore. It really is. I don't know him personally, no. No difference between a pound and a quid. It's just a slang word for pound. Yes, it's a nice little newsletter. Like $1 and $1, exactly. Nice light grey ash, building nicely. Good evening, Mike. What's a bob? A bob is like a shilling. 2 bob. I think bob is 5p. Although a shilling, isn't a shilling 6p? All that stuff changed before I was born. Patiently waiting on our local pipe club pipe of the year to come in. Which club is that, Mike? We'll be waiting here for you, John. Hey, Sam. Have you smoked the volcano, Mike? And if you have, how is it smoked? Any of you guys been to the Chicago Pipe Show? I was watching a clip by Andrew Sirigliano of a speed smoking competition. It's not for me. Speed smoking is just gonna burn your tongue big time, your whole mouth big time, and ruin the rest of the day for you of enjoying pipes with friends at the pipe show. So I don't know why anybody would want to do that. But good luck to them. They looked like they were having fun, so that's cool. There's a video on YouTube, an old black and white video of a couple of guys doing it in the UK somewhere. That was speed smoking. This cigar is so far fantastic. Building a beautiful stacked ash, burning nicely, generally speaking. It's got a nice oily wrapper. I haven't done a cigar video in a long time. I've got a feeling that I've already done a video on this particular Vitola, the La Jolla. But if I haven't, then maybe next time I'll do a video. I've got one more of these. Yeah, cool, exactly. The 1 hour pipe carve last night was very interesting. Cool. I would have liked to have seen that. If they did that and actually made the stems as well, or did they use blanks? Because I've done kind of a speed thing live, you guys might remember, some of you might have seen it, and I made a pipe in 52 minutes. But that was with a blank stem. If they did that from a rod stock, and that's really impressive. And it was shiny and sanded and everything. That is very impressive. What vintage tobacco am I keeping for myself that I want to try? Nothing in particular. I'm after doing all of this sort of selling consignments, I'm kind of tempted to put my own stuff up as well. I've got a lot of tobacco, a lot of vintage tobacco as well. So I'm thinking that, it's a good time to do it maybe. And you know how it goes. It's always a good time, but if I hold on to it for another 5 or 10 years, maybe it'll be worth double or triple, or it might be worth less. Who knows? When I was a kid, I was about maybe 12, 13, something like that. I was helping an uncle of mine who had some real estate in the centre, in London town, worth some money, and I actually spoke to him today, and I reminded him of that time when I went to help him. I went in his pickup truck to help him move furniture, and he said that he'd sold that house. At that time, he sold it for £500,000, £500,000. Right now, that's worth £3 or £4 million. And he says, "Oh, if I would have kept that property." I said, "Yeah, but you know what? Back then, when he sold it, £500,000 was a lot of money. You got a decent profit out of it. Probably similar value to what it's worth now, really. Maybe a bit more now, but you can't ruminate like that and worry about what's the past. What you've done, you've done. You did it. You do things for the reasons that you have to. You guys remember I had those 3 boxes of Cohiba Robusta Supremos, which I sold before my daughter's wedding, and I only made a couple of £100 profit on each box. So I bought them for about £400 a box. I bought them as an investment, not to smoke. I sold them for about £650, £700 each, something like that. They're worth £3,500 each box now, and but I didn't have the money to hold on to them. So at the time, they served a purpose, and I'm happy about that. All things being equal, would you open 40th anniversary or Christmas cheer? Well, 40th anniversary is 2017. Christmas cheer depends which year. In my experience, Christmas cheer each year is different. Although they've got the same kind of basis, the McClellan Virginia, the rich Virginias, but some years are better than others. Some years are blockbusters, and other years are just meh. So to me anyway. But now 40th anniversary has got a few years on it as well, so I think 40th would be a good bet. I haven't tried all of the Christmas cheers. I've tried a fair few, but out of all of the ones that I've tried, for me 2014 has been the best year, to me anyway. Yeah, I did see. I think there is a channel on IG for the show. They have their own channel for the Chicago Pipe Show. So they've been posting pictures, and they did show the speed carvers. Did Ascorti win it? I'm not sure. Yeah, Scotty won. Yeah. Were they all making the same pipe, Mike? Because they looked like it. Did they all have to make was it a bent apple? Yeah, an hour for Robusto. They could make whatever they wanted. Oh, I wish I could, Sam. I wish I could. I mean, I suppose technically there's nothing stopping me, but the problem for me is twofold. Number one, anything more than a couple of hours flying, I don't like. I don't mind short flights, but anything more than that, it's a drag, and I don't like it. And number two, most shows, the main days on Saturday when I couldn't go for religious reasons. So for me, going to shows is really a tough call. Hey, Jeremy. I mean, I suppose technically I could walk in, I just couldn't do anything. But it wouldn't be the done thing for me to do that on my Sabbath. Even if I didn't do anything, it wouldn't really be in the spirit of it. So, no, I wouldn't be able to do that. Do I have a favourite Frog Morton blend? The one that I've smoked the most is Cellar. And now that my oldest boy has started smoking a pipe, he loves Frog Morton Cellar. I wish I could send him more. I just don't fancy sending him £120 worth of tobacco, which he's going to smoke through, and not quite yet appreciating it enough. Not because he wouldn't be appreciative, but because his palate is perhaps not yet. He's only just started smoking a pipe. Should I ash this or not? I don't want to ash. I don't want it ashing all over me. It looks pretty solid still. Hey Mark, welcome on. The pictures that I saw, Mike, they all looked like, I saw a couple of them and they looked like bent apples. But there was one which was actually very similar to a pipe I did for the Pipe Club of London years ago. It was more like a goblet with a straight stem shank coming out of the side. I think that was the Ascorti one, wasn't it? Dusty and bulging is good, Jeremy. Hey, Smarty Bob. Jeremy, remind me which part of the world you're in. Are you in the UK or in the States? I don't recall. I don't remember. I don't recall. USA, all right. Peter Gabriel, indeed. The late Peter Gabriel, the late great. A lot of people, celebrities dying recently. Dame Edna Everage, I thought she was fantastic. Paul O'Grady, also a bit of a tranny comedian, also very funny. And Jerry Springer, of course. My teenage years, I grew up on a bit of Jerry Springer. I think he really was a trailblazer because he brought something to TV which hadn't existed before, and the shock value of it was just. Pete's still alive. Oh, that's good. I'm sorry then. I didn't want to. I don't know why I thought he'd passed. Sorry about that. I'm glad to hear it. But Jerry Springer, yeah. I mean, he was, although on the shows itself he was quite, he could be quite cutting. Apparently, he was a lovely, lovely fellow. At Chicago, the smoking tent opened on Thursday afternoon, I believe. Yeah, Mike, as I said to you last time, I would have kept that because it didn't sell for some reason. I don't know why. But had it been 9mm, I would have just simply kept it. But even the stem, because the brindled sort of striations, they're not as striking, they're more subtle, so you don't see it. But when you look at them, the patterns on the side of it, sort of the arrow dart kind of shapes which came on that, which it just worked out beautiful. It is really nice. The stem on that is fantastic. And the overall shape of the pipe is great, but for me the highlight is that reverse plateau. It just looks like an otherworldly kind of, if you turn it upside down and look at it, sort of put it in front of your eyes, so some of it is in focus and some of it is out of focus, it looks almost like like another planet's scape, like like I don't know how to describe it, but it just looks unbelievable because it's so rounded. You know, sometimes with a plateau they're quite sharp, but this one, the nodules are just so rounded. It just looks like something else. And but I'm delighted that it's gone to you, Mike. I actually can't comment on that, Daniel, because until I read and heard that he had been kicked off, I hadn't heard his name really. So I can't answer that for you. Yeah, absolutely, Mike. I was talking to somebody else about that recently, about who was that? About the zoning that I do with my pipes. I try to make elements tie in with each other when I can. Um, the truth is, I've often thought about that question about church wardens. He was born in London. That's true. Jerry Springer was born in London. I've often thought about church wardens, although I don't have the ability to make full-length church wardens. I don't have the drill bits for that, or the chucks to really hold those accurately. Well, I could, I suppose, starting from rodstock, yes, I can, but I don't have the drill bits. I guess if I just need to get the drill bits, and I can do it. It's no biggie. Um, but I've often thought that um, almost any pipe, almost any well-made pipe, stick a long stem on it, and it will look great as a church warden. I've never yet seen. I'm not talking about big sort of sculptural pipes, but pretty much any regular bed pipe. I've always tried to visualize it and think to myself, would that be okay as a church warden? And it always came up as saying, yeah, that would be fine. I believe I did, John. I'm just checking. A Canadian, yeah? A Crown Series Canadian. Unfiltered. I've got to find a suitable block. I don't have a huge amount of long blocks, but I do have a couple, so that should be okay. I will book it in on my list tomorrow, probably. That's a good question, Daniel. Just going back to the commissions for a minute, I do have a list growing of commissions at the moment. But as I've told to all of the commissioners so far, I'm currently focusing on Crown Series pipes. So yours might jump in there, John, ahead, because it's a Crown Series. Hey, Phil. I also want to do a couple of uncommissioned Crown Series pipes, some special ones. And one, I'd like it to be a blockbuster like the one that I did for the Queen, but a different design, obviously, but something of that elevated kind of level. So I'm going to need some time for that too. So we'll see how things go. Hey, Philip. Daniel, good question. I don't know the answer to that. Whether church warden pipes would smoke without a filter and give you less trouble with tongue bite. So if you're somebody that struggles with tongue bite and that's why you smoke a 9mm, I wouldn't advise you to go to a church warden. Because a church warden, when we talk about the length of a shank and the length of a stem and the fact that the smoke takes longer to get to your mouth and it has time to cool down, you're talking about milliseconds. And it's not actually a time that would make a significant difference. It might make a tiny difference. But if you take a draw on a pipe, a regular sized pipe, and you get the smoke in your mouth, you take a draw on a church warden pipe and the smoke gets to your mouth, you're not going to notice really a difference in how long it takes to get to your mouth. So in my personal opinion, I'm not scientific on this, but in my personal opinion, if you struggle with tongue bite significantly, don't expect that problem to go away with a church warden. If you're somebody that smokes without a filter usually, but some blends give you a little bit of a nip, maybe, otherwise you don't have a problem with tongue bite, maybe in a church warden it might be easier, possibly. So if there's a tiny issue, then maybe church warden could negate that problem. But otherwise, if you've got a tongue bite problem, I don't think church wardens will solve that problem for you. Well, Dr. Graybone nowadays, perhaps, but they've certainly been innovators in the past. They've tried in the old days. Oh, productivity levels. Why? What do they produce these days? How much do they produce? And by the way, anybody who's bought a pipe recently, they've all gone. I'm fully up to date. I'm now thankfully much more swift when it comes to shipping pipes. So you buy a pipe from me, it's going to be out the door pretty quickly, pretty sharpish, usually within a day or two. We do more with less in terms of facilities. I get you. Okay. It's just my opinion, Daniel. As I say, it's not scientific. It's just my opinion. I might be wrong. It's just my opinion. Exactly, Phil. But he meant with the stuff that independent carvers are able to do with limited machinery and limited capacity, I guess. Yeah, absolutely, Mike. If somebody's going to freight train, any pipe is going to give you a problem. But I'm saying, all things being equal, if you don't have a problem usually with pipes, and you smoke a church warden the same way, then don't expect a huge difference. We shall get Art onto this because he likes doing experiments, but he's not that active besides for his daily messages. But it would be cool, yeah, it would be cool to do that. Yeah. The late John Harden. Well, as the story goes, I don't know if it's true, but one of the stories I've heard about church wardens is that, and the reason why it's called church warden, is because the church wardens they weren't allowed to smoke in the church. So they used to have these long clay pipes made, so the bowl was outside the window while they smoked, while they stood inside the church, but the pipe was outside the window. That's one of the stories I've seen. I don't know if it's true or not. Yeah, and the angle that the pipe sits nicely is really dependent on the fullness of your belly, or the greatness of your belly, or the circumference of your belly. Shari, how you doing? Welcome aboard. I think artisan carvers will make whatever people want them to make. You don't see that many church wardens from carvers, from independent carvers, but you do see them from time to time. I have made them in the past. I certainly do sort of semi-wardens more often because that's the length of drill bits that I've got. But if I was to get a longer tapered drill bit, then I could do longer ones, I guess. Yeah, Jeremy, I think the reason for that is because they use the original forms that they have. It's like a clamshell where they make those clay pipes, and I think they still use the original forms that they've used for literally a couple of hundred years. Yeah, that's the issue, I think, and it's probably just not financially viable to start making a whole new form for those. And making a church warden as well, it's got its challenges, because if you're doing a church warden stem, to keep that shaping consistent across the whole stem, that requires a good level of skill. It might be cool to see a Meerschaum church warden, but there would be no point in doing them because that would break in no time at all. Excuse me. How long have we been going? We started at around 11:30, and I probably started this cigar about 15 minutes in, so it's about an hour in, and just about hitting halfway. I must be honest, over the past couple of weeks I was worried that my palate had taken a nosedive, because I hadn't been enjoying my tobacco as much as usual. I hadn't been smoking as much as usual, and I hadn't smoked cigars at all for a few weeks, at least 2 weeks. But even the pipes I hadn't really been enjoying. Even Audit Golden Sliced just wasn't tasting good. So I've kind of been taking it easy. I've had the odd bowl here and there, but So I'm really surprised that how good this is tasting. I'm really quite relieved. Maybe the fact that I hadn't smoked them for a while just gives your palate a bit of a break. It's probably also true. Really? He got himself a church ordination. Cool. Let's see how long it lasts. No worries, Mark. Have a good night. Have any of you guys been to the Chicago Pipe Show? This year's Chicago Pipe Show. I gotta say, Phil, I'm with you on that. I think that any pipe maker probably would recognize a pipe that they'd made and remember it. Not necessarily remember it from memory, but if somebody was to talk to them about it and remind them about it, they'd remember it. Or if they'd see a picture of a pipe they'd made, they'd remember it. Something that you've spent time on, a good few hours making, and you perhaps remember the challenges of making that pipe or any stumbling blocks along the way with the briar and stuff like that. You've got a certain amount of yourself invested in every single pipe. That's why some carvers find it so hard to sell pipes, because of that. They're so invested in them. And I don't know if this is true for all pipe makers. I imagine for a lot. You make the pipe the way you would like to have that pipe made. So there's already an association with yourself. It's a type of pipe that you would like. So to sell it is always a bit of a challenge. And some of the pipes I've made recently, I've found it really hard. I mean, the most recent tadpole pipe that I made, the grain on that pipe, man, sensational. In fact, the last few pipes have been really great. The grain. I've been very fortunate with that, and the one I'm in the middle of at the moment, as I said right at the beginning of the video, of the live stream, this is a Crown Series bent sort of brandy kind of thing, and this was supposed to be a commission. It may well still end up being a commission. Customer wants a carve blast, but when I started making this pipe, the grain just looked worthy of being smooth. So I'm not sure that I'm going to carve blast it, and I told the customer that if the grain is good by the time I've finished the shaping, then this is going to stay smooth, and I'll just make him a different one. But I've got to say the stem on this one is beautiful. The way because it's all random, these type of rods, and it just really nice and equal. The swirls just look amazing on it. I've got to say, I'm tempted on nearly every single one, Phil. The one I did just the other day, my most recent one, that was larger than I would usually go for, so that one didn't bother me as much. But the bulldog that I did recently, or the diamond shank billiard that I did recently, would have been more than happy to have that pipe. That tadpole, amazing. That 5-star pipe, I will get a sandblaster, all being well, Daniel. It's just a matter of when I get my garage sorted out. It's still under tarpaulins, and I still have to finish my claim, which I'm doing through the ombudsman at the moment. So, and that's going to take a long time. So if I happen to have surplus money in order to fix the roof, I may well do that, even before it gets settled. But in the house, I certainly have no room for the sandblasting setup. Good night, Yusuf. Thank you very, very much for joining. Which one are you talking about, Phil? I'm not sure that I've seen a freestyle pipe from you, Phil. It must be before we got to know each other. Oh, you mean two stems, two stem materials? Yeah, it wasn't the greatest success in the world, but I think, did somebody buy it? I can't remember if somebody bought it in the end. I think I sold that as an estate pipe. I think I smoked it. I don't recall. I mean, is it Armelini that does them a lot, or not Armelini? What are they called? The one that has the gold bar as their logo on the pipes. Amarelli. It's Amarelli. What he does, he splices stuff all the time on his stanks, on his shanks and stems. Daniel, yeah, I used to send out pipes to do sandblasting, but the person who did them is no longer a pipe maker. So that's something I do need to do. I sandblasted. I had sandblasted half a dozen or so pipes, and this is the only one that I've got left, which is this bent sort of billiard brandy type thing. I've had a lot of people ask me if I want to sell it, but I've resisted so far. It really blasted beautifully, this pipe. Really nice craggy blast, nice ring grain. You've got bird's eye on the base there. Really, really lovely pipe. You can see the bird's eye. I don't know if it's focusing well enough. This pipe is dedicated to Latakia blends. Doing a blue metallic stem freestyle now as well. Cool. Okay, we look forward to seeing that. I'm numbering the series, but I'm not putting special numbers on the pipes. The pipe numbers are in line with my pipe numbers, my universal pipe numbers list. But each series will have its. So this is series 2, and the last one, when the Queen passed, is series 1. I'm calling this series 2. Maybe I'll put another digit. Maybe I'll put a 2 on it somewhere, so to denote that it's series 2. That's a good point. Well, the ones that I've sent out, I haven't done that, but I might well do that. Just put an S2 on the pipe somewhere. So maybe under the crown I'll put a 2. Yeah, that makes sense. So then you know it's Crown Series 2. Thanks for that, John. That's a good piece of advice. I appreciate that. I've still got one pipe left from Series 1. Is that Castle one, which is on my website now. It still hasn't found a home. Don't know why, because I think it's actually the best iteration of the bricks that I've done. Personally, I think it's a gorgeous bit of sculpture, really, the way it comes out of the rock there. I don't know why it hasn't sold, but I think it's a great pipe. It's not going to be the most comfortable smoking pipe in the world, but it will smoke very well. It's very well drilled, and it's obviously got a very comfortable grip on it. You may not clench it, but if you're not a clencher, there's absolutely no issue. This will be a great smoking pipe. A lot of work went into this. Each brick is textured individually. Nice pipe. Make another natural pipe with a carved finish with button stain. Oh, with button polish. Yeah, it did take a long time, Patrick. What do I like more, pipe or cigar in terms of aromas and flavors? It's a totally different experience. I can't really answer that question. I certainly these days smoke more pipes than cigars. There was a time when I smoked more cigars than pipes. For one thing, Cuban cigars are just too darn expensive. But there are times when, as I've said many times, cigars seem to reach deeper into you in terms of satisfaction. They have a deeper satisfaction. I don't know if that's because the nick hit is stronger. I don't know what it is, whether it's the fullness in your mouth, but for some reason you feel, like for instance, when you smoke a pipe, if I have a bowl of All It Golden sliced in my pipe, if I really want to, I can just refill and relight, and that's without any thought, without any issue. When you've had a cigar, you have this kind of deeper satisfaction where you feel, I'm smoked out for now, I don't need to smoke anything else. And that is very true, Phil. Cigars don't bite, generally speaking. You can sometimes get a little bit if you're smoking too many, but that's more like sort of you're overdoing it. It's not because you're getting tongue bite, but it's just that you're overdoing it, and your tongue and your mouth and your palate are just tired. Yeah, I've done the same, Phil. I've made for a friend of mine. He wanted to have a cigar holder, and I made a 9mm cigar holder. It actually worked out really nice. I did for a while think about maybe making them and putting them on the website, but there's a limit to how much you can charge for it, and it just, the time it takes, I'd rather spend it making a pipe. Have you ever thought of making a Jekyll and Hyde pipe with a stain of the British flag? No, I haven't thought of that. And I'll be honest with you, when you're talking about staining pipes, if you, for instance, stain a pipe red, it's not going to be a bright red, because you've got the undercoat essentially is the color of the briar. Unless you've got a really, really bright white, almost white briar, you're going to struggle to get a really nice contrast between the red, blue, and white. I guess you could leave the briar naked for the white and just do blue and white, blue and red. But to be honest, I don't think that would work that well. I've got to say that this so far has been one of the better Cuban cigars I've had in a long time. Really enjoying it. Yeah, that is a problem, Phil. And the one I made was tapered, so to some extent there was some leeway there. Well, the reason why you have that, Daniel, is because they would probably put an undercoat, like any wood. They'd probably put an undercoat of some kind, a primer of some kind first, and then paint any color any color you like. But you really don't want to do that on a pipe, to seal it in with a primer. You just don't want to do that. McPhil, I will agree with you on that. I haven't had that experience because I don't tend to smoke really heavy. I've got some Irish Flake in a jar, which I've had probably for about 6 or 7 years. But it's not a tobacco that I enjoyed that much. I've only ever bought one tin of it, and it's still the same first tin, which I bought when right at the beginning, when I first started in the end of 2015, 2016. So that's, got 6-7 years age on that jar. There's still a few flakes left in there. Probably a lot mellower now and sweeter. Yeah, so those green pipes from St. Patrick's, if they are briar which is stained, you'll see that the green is really dark. If the green is really bright, then they'll have sealed that pipe first. So you can get sort of a darker green. That's what I was saying before about the reds. You wouldn't get a really bright red because you've got the color of the briar underneath it. Yeah, so the dressed black pipes, those they probably do have a lacquer on them, I should imagine. I don't know. I've not done a dress pipe myself. I've tidied up a few dress pipes, but I've never actually done one myself. I don't know how much call there is for dress pipes these days. They still make them. I mean, Dunhill makes them, Peterson makes them. A lot of companies still make them. So I guess there is a market for it. I guess it's the right pipe to use for a formal occasion. When you're in coat and tie. Yeah, absolutely, Phil. Dress pipes have to actually be perfect. What you'll usually find is that they will use bald pipes for dress pipes. In other words, pipes which have no grain or have very little grain and lots of bald spots, but otherwise perfect. So no flaws, no pits, but no grain either. So you'll often find those will be dress pipes. See you, Mike. Well, because it's an absolutely perfectly smooth black finish, any imperfection will show up. So the only way they could avoid that, yeah, which some companies do, is that they will fill the pipes, then sand them, then prime them, and then put the black coating on them. But you really don't want to smoke a pipe like that, in my opinion. Look at that, that Cuban label come off smoothly. So in case any of you guys haven't watched my last video, which I uploaded maybe a couple of hours ago, I've had quite a few questions about the second batch, the second consignment batch, and there's no Penzance in there, and originally there was. And that's because, as I said in my video just before, I had a single purchaser who purchased around 60% of the whole consignment, and I couldn't very well pass up on that opportunity, even though originally my plan was to try and give the widest audience an opportunity to buy some of those rare tobaccos, but they're not my tobaccos, and I'm working on behalf of a customer, on behalf of a client, and it would have been wrong for me to not do that, to give him his money as quickly as possible. So when an opportunity came up that I could sell 60% of that consignment, and obviously they went for the best tobaccos, not all of them, but they went for a lot of the good tobaccos, I had to take that, and there was nothing I could do about that. So although I feel bad about it, there really wasn't much that I could do. I would say that the nearest Germain's equivalent is 1820 Flake, not 1820, 1820 Flake from Germain's. Ideally with a couple of years of age on it. Yeah, that's exactly it, Phil. Two reasons. Number one, I wanted to make the money for my customer, and obviously my cut comes in quicker as well, and that also means something. I'm not here. I am here to do stuff for friends, but that's not ultimately. I've got to put food on the table and pay my mortgage, so that's got to come first. If you're looking for McPhil, if you're looking for the equivalent, but there are. I was just going to say Special Latakia Flake. Are they? How much are they charging for it? Yeah, the leather is stretched over the pipe and sewn. 30 quid for 50 grams. Well, there you go. Other places are not going to be that much less. Prices have gone crazy. If you buy that over the counter in a shop, you'll pay 22, 23 quid now for any 50 gram tin. So they're charging a premium because it's Germain's. All right. They're trying to make a few extra quid. Oh, 50 quid. No, that is a bit much. That's a lot. That is a lot. Is it in a tin or a pouch? Sorry, 50 grams for 30 quid. Is that what you're saying? No worries. £30 for 50 grams. It is a lot of money, but it's not a huge amount more than what you pay over the counter. Tobacco prices have gone so high at the moment. I bought a tin when I was in JJ Fox's last. I bought a tin of Erin Moore Flake, 23 quid. So you're paying £7 more for Germain's Special Latakia Flake. It shouldn't be the same price. I mean, online it should be around £19-20 nowadays. Prices have gone up. Yeah, something like that, Phil. I've been selling some of the vintage stuff for similar. Well, no, I've been selling it for more than that. But that's vintage tobacco. It's got years of age on it. I think most of the original leather wrapped pipes came out of St. Claude, if I'm not mistaken, out of France. But you can get them on eBay, Daniel. You can usually find them on eBay. I think, is it Longchamps company that is well known for making them, or something like that. I'm sure you guys know the brand, the main brand that does them or did them back in the day. Was it Stonecrest, maybe? Solani as a unicorn? Not that I'm aware of. Longchamp. Okay, yeah, I was right the first time. Well, there's no Solani available on GQ. Let me check a few others. McPhil, if you want to go over to mysmokingshop.co.uk, well, unless they're not in stock, let me click on them. Hang on. Yep, they've got some. Which one are you looking for? Yeah, they've got plenty. My smoking shop have got plenty. I assume you're in the UK, McPhil. All of them are in stock. Burley. Yeah, they've got it in stock. Actually, it's good price. It's $15.95. Oh no, I tell a lie. Is it out of stock? It's out of stock. My apologies. The aged Burley flake is out of stock. Let me see what the other ones. Maybe I read it wrong. They're out of stock. You're right. I looked at it wrong. Yeah, everything's out of stock. That just means that they haven't been restocked. I don't think it means they're unicorn. Either there's something going on with them, or they just haven't restocked. The silver flake is in stock. McPhil, if you like that silver flake, that's in stock. I think that's the only one that's in stock. I don't make these. No, I don't sell these. This was made by a guy. His name is Jason. He doesn't do stuff anymore. He doesn't. He went out of the business years ago. I actually sent quite a lot of people to him when they saw this on my table in my videos. But he's been out of it for a while now. I have smoked the silver flake. I really only have ever gone for the red label, the blend 131, which is a whiskey blend, which I found to be a very good aromatic from Solani. I have no thoughts on Condor because I don't smoke it. I think I've tried it once and I don't recall what it was like. There may be a video on my channel, I don't know. Yeah, it is a shame. He did a really good job. It's a really nice tobacco. He's got these like brass shavings in there. I'm not quite sure how he did that, but it looks really nice. I've had a lot of compliments for it. Yeah, the 63. I've got a couple of unopened tins of that, the 100-gram tins. I think I have a small tin as well, a 50-gram tin. Condor Lonka is one of Phil's favourite tobaccos. If anybody wants to send Phil a gift, send them some Condor Lonka. And Phil, you know I've been waiting on that single flake from you. what's it called? Something slices. The old. Edgeworth, yeah, Edgeworth slice as well. I think I'm hopefully finally going to get to taste it because Cubish Pipers, Eric, he bought on Timbids, he bought a 1970s tin and he opened it up. And you can watch the video of him opening it up. And he said he's going to send me a couple of slices. So I'm very, very excited for that. I'm not usually a birdie smoker, as you know, but something as legendary as that, I'm really super stoked to try it out. And when you grow a couple of kahunas, you can send me your slice and declare it as something else. Right, Phil? Unless you've already smoked it, Phil. In that case. You still have them, yeah? Well, one day, perhaps I'll order a cane, which I've been threatening to do for a while now. But one day, if I do that, you can hide it inside. You can do a James Bond kind of situation, or a Russian injector cane, you know? Have a secret compartment and put a sealed baggie in there. I think you're smuggling. Wow, 80 years. Well, the tin he got was quite a tall tin, so there's quite a lot in that tin. So hopefully he sends me a couple of slices. I have watched Piper Peel, amazing videos, and that guy must be spending a fortune on vintage tobaccos. And they're beautifully shot as well in these videos. Between him and Paladin Piper. I haven't seen anything from Piper Peel for a while though. Pipe Stud, yeah, not Pipe Stub. Pipe Stud, he sells vintage, that's what he does for a living in his retirement. Well, perhaps he buys them from somebody like Pipe Stud, or he's been saving them himself over the years. See, I don't know what's going on. See, Piper Peel has done videos almost every couple of days, and they haven't come in my feed, and I'm subscribed. He opened a Edgeworth Red Aromatic from the 70s 2 days ago. He reminds me of Ben's videos. He opened the Edgeworth Sliced 3 months ago, so you can watch that. Yeah, I've been in touch with Boris. I'd heard that he wasn't well, so I got in touch with him. and he did send me details of what's up with him, but I don't know if I've got his permission to share it, so I'm not going to. Suffice it to say that he does need prayers. He's got a lot going on. Garbage Man Piper, Mel, he's still around, just doesn't do videos. He crops up on IG, and he leaves comments on my videos from time to time. He's just very busy, I think. John Harden, he passed away a couple of years ago. For sure, Cole, no problem at all. I'm surprised to hear that you say he's home, Phil. Didn't sound like it when I was in touch with him a couple of days ago. Oh, with his pipes. I don't know. There was a talk about them being sold off. Sarge was going to be selling them off, but Vinny. But I haven't heard anything about it. Oh, I see, Daniel. Fair enough, yeah. Okay, so he emailed me back, Boris. He emailed me back on the 26th. So that's 4 days ago. At the time, he was still in the hospital, but they said that he was supposedly going home this week. So maybe he's home now. Yeah. I'm gonna email him straight away and tell him. All right. Oh well, if he's home, then I'm glad he's home. That's good news. Well, I think this pipe is coming to an end, this cigar. So on that note, I think I will call it a day. I'll do my thank yous because I forgot to do it last week. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Cole. Thank you, John B-Dog. Thank you, Patrick Grant. Thank you, Stage Zero. Thank you, McPhil. Thank you, Mike. Gamecock Piper, if you're still there. Thank you, the Mad Piper. And everybody else, thanks very much for joining. Wish you all a wonderful week, and I'll catch you on the next one.